Good afternoon, traders. This is Bob Haberkorn from RJO Futures here to talk about gold and silver. A couple days right before the U.S. election. Lots of volatility in the overnight, or should I say lots of downside in the overnight. There's news that came out from the World Gold Council that there's been some central banks selling in gold in the third quarter. What does that mean? It said that it's banks that haven't sold since 2010 have been doing so in the third quarter, probably looking to raise cash. A lot of central banks can't print money like the ECB or the Federal Reserve, so they do have to sell equities to raise equities to fight the coronavirus. A lot of things going on. Coronavirus uptick in the United States as well as in Europe has gold and silver acting like a commodity, kind of like what it did in the spring. They're tracking with the equity markets. They're looking at, is there going to be a demand for gold and silver as for manufacturing? And that's why you're seeing the sell-off right now. But like I said last week, at some point, gold and silver have to act like gold and silver. And markets can remain illogical sometimes longer than you can remain liquid. So keep that in mind right now. I think if you're bullish on gold or silver, you got to look to the 200-day moving average as maybe a target where we'll see it go between now and possibly the election in 5 days coming up here next week. And then what are the results of the election? Are we going to have, with the mail-in ballots, how will that work out? So there's lots of questions on the election, lots of questions with coronavirus. Are we going to continue to see an uptick through the winter, which we probably will in Europe and the United States? How drastic will the shutdowns be? That's what's hurting demand right now with all commodities across the board, and is the concern. So gold and silver acting like commodities. In gold, concern is right now, if you're bullish, look for the 200-day to come into play. If you're bearish, it might be a good idea to stay short until we get there. The 200-day in gold right now is at 1787, and in silver is 2150. So we're a bit off from there. Caught a little bit of a bounce here this morning. There was an uptick in buying in some of the ETF space, and some information on China, on demand out of China, was higher than expected for the third quarter. So there was a higher demand for bars and coins. At some point though, like I said, gold and silver have to start acting like gold and silver. There's a lot of tailwinds, or headwinds I should say, with the global economy at this point, and unknowns in coronavirus, as well as stimulus measures that will be coming out from central banks. I think after the election, you will get a stimulus bill out of the United States, out of Congress. And will it be 3 trillion? Will it be 2.5 trillion? I think it depends on who wins the election to which way that goes. But gold and silver have been trading on any upside moves that they're optimistic that something is going to come through. Probably not going to see it until late next week, maybe into early December. But keep in mind, if you're bullish, be careful right here. Look for that 200-day possibly to come into. If you have any questions, want to talk about gold or silver, please feel free to give me a call. Remember, futures trading poses significant risk. It is not suitable for all investors.